You know that feeling, right? You see a legendary actor, someone you absolutely admire, in a role that's just, well, bad. In this explainer, we're not going to talk about bad movies. We're talking about those really weird, baffling moments when a truly great actor seems to have forgotten how to act. We're going to dig into why this happens and what it really tells us about talent itself.
I mean, just look at this. On one side, you have the raw, transformative power of Robert De Niro in Raging Bull, and on the other, you have Dirty Grandpa. See, this isn't just about a good actor being in a bad movie. That happens all the time. This is about something else entirely. It's about a great actor who seems completely checked out, leaving their legendary range on the shelf. Let's figure out why.
So, how does a master fall so far? Well, we're going to break it down. We'll start with what happens when a legend just phones it in. Then we'll get into actors who basically become loud cartoons of themselves. We'll also look at performances that are just pure unchecked chaos, and others where you can literally see the boredom on their faces. And stick around, because by the end, you'll see the one thing that connects all of them.
First up, the master's mistake. You know, even the absolute best of the best can have a really off day. This is all about those moments when a legendary actor's confidence just gets way ahead of their actual effort. It's a pretty powerful reminder that even the most incredible talent has its limits.
Okay, let's dive into our first big category, the cartoon characters. This is what happens when actors trade in all that beautiful nuance for just being loud. They become these empty, over-the-top caricatures. And honestly, there's no better example to start with than the one and only Al Pacino.
Reduces one of the most formidable actors in American cinema to a mascot. Wow, that quote just nails what happened to Al Pacino in the movie Jack and Jill. He wasn't playing a character, he was playing Al Pacino, the brand, the meme, the punchline. He literally became a mascot for himself.
And this slide right here really breaks down the terrible trade-offs he made. The controlled, quiet menace that made him a star? Nope. That was replaced with yelling. The deep dives into a character's mind? Gone. Swapped out for just being a brand. When every single scene is turned up to 11, there's nowhere for the performance to go. There's no conflict, no tension. All that's left is this sort of desperation that completely shatters the illusion.
And you know, Robert De Niro's performance in Dirty Grandpa falls right into that same exact trap. The whole joke of the movie is supposed to be, whoa, look at this old guy acting like a frat boy. But De Niro's performance is just hollow. It's such a clear case of an actor who is just creatively disengaged, basically cashing a check on a legacy he built decades ago.
So what really went wrong here? Well, De Niro wasn't doing some clever subversion of his tough guy image. He was just there. The movie uses shock value and curse words instead of, a personality. His character's grief is just a flimsy excuse for him to be obscene. It's a performance that doesn't just coast on his reputation, it actively chips away at it.
All right, let's switch gears to a totally different kind of performance failure. Unchecked chaos. This is what we get when performances are so unrestrained, they just spiral into pure absurdity. This is what happens when an actor's instincts are completely let off the leash, with no guardrails from the script or the director.
Now, to really get this next example, we have to talk about a key acting concept, calibration. It's all about control. It's how an actor builds a performance piece by piece, so that when a character finally explodes, it feels earned, it feels believable. It's the huge difference between structured, terrifying chaos and just, noise.
Nicolas Cage's performance in the Wicker Man remake is the perfect storm of zero calibration. He starts the movie already cranked up to a 10, in a state of near-total hysteria. So, from there, where do you go? The only place left is absurdity. The script gives him no help, no tonal control, so his instincts just run wild. And the result? Moments that are supposed to be horrifying, like the infamous "not the bees" scene, become unintentionally hilarious.
You see a very similar lack of control in Halle Berry's Catwoman. She just swings wildly from one extreme to the other. First, she's a caricature of a shy, meek person, and then bam, she's a caricature of a hyper-sexualized predator. There's no believable link between the two. It's not a character transformation, it's like someone just flipped a switch, and it makes an already ridiculous movie even more so.
Okay, our final category is maybe the most straightforward and maybe the saddest. Visible disengagement. This is when an actor is just so obviously checked out. They're giving a transactional performance where just their famous face is supposed to be enough. And this can happen even with roles that once made their careers.
And there is no better example of this than the slow decay of John McClane. I mean, look at this timeline. In 1988, Bruce Willis created an icon, a guy who was scared,
who was vulnerable, who felt pain. He was relatable. But by 2013, McClane was just a generic, indestructible superhero, and Willis looked like he would rather be literally anywhere else.
All the signs of disengagement are just splattered across this performance. His line delivery is flat, it's monotone. Sarcasm isn't a defense mechanism anymore, it's just his default setting. It makes all his interactions feel cold and completely lifeless, and it totally disconnects him from the giant action scenes happening all around him. This wasn't a case of bad casting. Bruce Willis knew exactly how to play John McClane. He just chose not to. And that choice sucks all the stakes right out of the movie.
Okay, so we've seen a few different ways that great actors can really drop the ball. But why? How do people with this much talent end up giving these kinds of performances? Well, when you look at all of them together, a single unifying theory starts to come into focus.
And that brings us to the biggest question of all. Have these legendary actors actually lost their talent? Can that incredible skill just evaporate?
The answer, thankfully, is no. It's not that they've lost their ability or forgotten the craft. The problem is a single corrosive choice: disengagement.
So what's the big lesson here? It's that greatness isn't a permanent state of being. An actor's range is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. In every single one of these cases, we see actors who started relying on their brand, on their legacy, instead of on their craft. It's not a lack of talent that ruins a performance, it's complacency and neglect.
And here's one more quick honorable mention. Michael Caine in Draws the Revenge. He's one of the most respected actors alive, but his performance is just inert. He's on complete autopilot, just going through the motions. He famously said he never saw the film, but he did see the beautiful house it bought for his mother. It's the perfect textbook example of an actor relying on their reputation, not their craft.
All of this leaves us with one final, fascinating question. If even the greatest actors can just choose to check out, what about the ones who never seem to miss? What is it that separates the actors who are consistently great from the ones who are only occasionally brilliant? Now that's a question we're thinking about.